18.1 is not 17.1. 18.1 is a triplet. The first part of the triplet is toes to bar.
Oh no!
The third part of the triplet is calories on
Rower.
the concept to rower.
I'm just like,
The second part of the triplet is the dumbbell.
Look at it.
Yeah.
The hang clean to overhead.
Weird.
That's
With
it?
one dumbbell?
that looked rough for that one rep.
As many rounds
Please say
and
no.
reps
Please say 30.
as possible
Please say
Please don't say 30.
in
Don't say 30.
20 minutes.
Fuck
Welcome to 18 Open.
It's not even that.
That's weird. It's a weird workout.
Good way to start. I don't know. I like the 20 minutes and the low reps. I feel like I'll be able to just keep moving. Be smart about it, and you can just keep going.
Hey guys, the 2018 CrossFit Games Open is finally here. Welcome to another Misfit Athletics podcast featuring the whole gang today. We're going to talk about 18.1, and I really can't believe I'm saying that out loud. 18.1. Oh,
You're scaring me with the look you're giving me right now.
God.
He's more scared now than he was when he actually had to do the workout.
I don't want to do it again. No, don't make me.
Yeah, you've already done it.
Yeah.
Gabe's already done it. We've already tested it. So we're going to
Old
review
news.
all the good shit we've discovered by doing it, watching it, and discussing. So before we get into it, Drew, what you got?
Here, start the camera up. It's a simultaneous recording action here. The vlog is back. Season 2 of the vlog. Open season is here. Thank you for the sound effects, Sherb.
Anytime.
Really like that. So the vlog is back. I know you guys have asked. We wanted it to be interesting. So I don't know if it's actually going to be, but we're certainly going to try.
There'll be a camera rolling.
So vlog is back. Sharpenthexcode.com for all your fancy new gear needs. We have my hat, my shirt, his shirt, I think his hat. There's some stuff that you guys aren't supposed to know about yet going on over here. He's going to cover that up.
You can't see it anyway. It's
True.
camouflage.
You can't even see my head.
Reboot. So we got all kinds of good stuff. There's going to be another pretty exciting release. Sorry for your bank accounts on 3/7. And we'll start showing that stuff up throughout the Open. Camps, we're getting really close. We want to be able to announce our entire camp schedule, at least most of it, during the Open, so you guys can plan and not send us death threats about going to Iceland instead of Clue. And 2 more things real quick. On the website now, we have a rest day template that gets posted Saturday night, and Tuesday night.
Yep.
I got it. Rest day template. It's a checklist for you guys, the stuff that we think you should be doing on a rest day no matter what, but especially during the Open. And if you have the pro account, you get a really detailed description of what all those check boxes mean. Last but not least, we are sending out a weekly recap email every week. So if you're registered on misfitathletics.com, which is free, by the way, you get the email.
Yo, I'm going to add one more thing.
Please do.
On the website, we have the Misfit Takeover sign-up sheet every day. It's all right. Every day it gets posted. It wasn't on your list. It's on our list, so you covered all your stuff. It gets posted every blog post, correct, Gabe?
Yes, there's a little purple link, Misfit Takeover 2018. Just click that.
And what's that for? Why do we have that?
It's so that we can track everybody's performance or all our Misfits over the Open and give you guys shout-outs each week. You guys do a lot of hard work and earn some shout-outs from us.
And that's all divisions, right?
Yes, all divisions, Masters, Teens, and Open.
Gabe and Sherb actually go through and they look at every single individual. We have like over 800.
They're going to email all of you.
That's right.
Special pictures.
They're going to set up
Snail mail, actually.
calls
Snail mail.
with every one of you, hour-long Skype sessions before every. I'm just kidding.
I read every name and pronounce it perfectly.
Yeah, and maybe someday we get to that. But if you do have a standout performance, you certainly will make the podcast, and we want to know who and where people are following.
Everybody. We
Yeah.
want all of them.
Yeah, we do.
We want thousands
know.
of you guys getting on this
Yeah.
list so we can show off and take credit for all your hard work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, that's us.
All the time. Okay, so enough of that.
Enough BS.
18.1, introed a new movement. All right, so we have the dumbbells back, hang clean and jerk, or hang clean and push press, whatever you want to call it. Essentially becomes a version almost of a kettlebell swing, it looked like from both of you guys.
Yeah.
To the shoulder, or kettlebell clean, I guess.
Yeah,
almost.
I have to say it's
a
more
lot
like
like
kettlebell
it,
clean.
but it's using the hip as opposed to maybe the straight up and down.
Not beneficial to be
switching
curling
arm
it.
snatch, right?
Yeah.
So kind of a swing to the shoulder, and then it's a push press because it's so light for the most part. Although you did start jerking near the end a little bit.
I had
Got
some
in a
jerks
little
in there
bit.
too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
You actually jerked earlier on.
Yeah, I was a couple of rounds. I felt like my shoulder started to burn more than it should for what time it was in the workout. So it's like, I'll just jerk now. Hopefully that will save my shoulder, because there are a couple times in the workout where it kept in my mind, like, it'd be nice to do like one extra set here. Just, put it down, quick shake. And then I was like, nah, if I do that, I'm going to fall too far behind. So jerking it was an easier way to stay moving the entire time.
So did you jerk the whole way, or did you switch push press?
It was mixed bag.
Messy?
Yeah,
It
mixed
was
bag.
mostly push press.
Yeah. Mixed bag
If
for
you
sure.
catch it just right, it's pretty easy to stand up and push
if
press.
you're efficient in your
Yeah.
way you clean the dumbbell, if you catch it in your jerk dip, it's just push press right
Right.
up overhead. Versus like if you catch one awkwardly or you lose your balance, then you might have to jerk it to get it overhead. But
Yeah, makes sense. And watching these two guys do the workout, they just finished like not even 15 minutes ago, right around the 400 mark for reps. So really a competitive score, probably not super high end, right? We're going to see reps or scores between 425 and 475 maybe, I think.
Definitely
Something
people
like that.
finish that round and get a good chunk of the round
Yeah.
after us for sure. If
So,
not finish that
I
round
don't
too.
know if we see 500. That would be fucking insane.
Well, what's 15 rounds for a male? It's different, right? How many
32
it
reps.
is?
32 reps around for men.
32?
Yeah, it'd be 32.
Yeah. Right, because it's men. Yeah,
Yeah.
for 14 cows.
So
anyway.
480. Yeah, that's going to be that random guy that
Cody,
you
do it.
laugh and you go, oh yeah, that
Cody,
guy.
do it. I dare you.
Right.
That guy did that.
Yeah. Anyway, but the point I want to make is you guys got close to 400 and you went unbroken the whole time. So when we first,
Almost.
oh, that's true.
Loser.
Gabe did. He almost went on very last round. He had to break the toe to bar. But
Sissy.
for the most part, 19 minutes and 50 seconds of it was unbroken. Point being, when we first discussed this, we knew it would be a transition workout, right? So you can't just casually catch your breath from, movement to movement. You must get to the next movement and start working. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm talking in generalities about someone trying to be very competitive. Me, I'll take my sweet ass time going from movement to movement and have a great 20 minutes. For someone who actually is trying to do something this year, the hustle that was required from unbroken movement to unbroken movement was really pretty astounding to me.
Imperative the entire time. You can't have that extra second where you're screwing with your grips or chucking your hand. I mean, I chucked my hands once during that workout and it still felt like it slowed me down to the point where it was like, should I have done that?
Yeah,
or
you
should
lost 2 or 3 reps there, so it's
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between our scores, basically. I mean, 1 or 2 more reps than that, but basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it seemed like I needed to. Honestly, if I had maybe adjusted my grip, maybe I could have hang on and didn't need to do that. But yeah, it's super fast transitions the entire time. And when you look at the clock and you think you're like 12 minutes in, you look up and you're like 6 minutes in, you realize how important it is to stay moving from thing to thing. It just goes by so fast. The movements do it, and you look up and you're like, oh, still so much time left.
It goes by until someone reminds you where you are in the workout, and then you're like, oh my, like a minute or a second of panic, and then okay, I can settle back in. So it's almost better if you can't see your clock and someone else is responsible for that, because that's really a sobering moment when the time's announced.
Yeah, that was a saver, because the one point I asked and there was like 8 minutes left or something. I wanted there to be 2 minutes left. I was like, no. And yeah,
no.
We couldn't see the clock,
again.
and you guys said 3 minutes left. And I was like, oh my God, we're getting at least one more round of this, and then more. No, please, no more. Tap out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So let's go over each movement individually. Toes
Okay.
to bar have to be, again, we're
Let's talk about
speaking for
the
competitors.
high
Let's
level,
talk about competitors, higher level, must be unbroken.
People who want to go to
100%.
regionals.
There actually isn't even room for a mistake. You can't come down because you fucked up your chalk. You're going to give away time that is super valuable for each rep
I
moving
want to say it's
forward.
not time to chalk in this workout.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
there's
agree
time.
with that.
I didn't
think
chalk once, and
You're going to
I
have to
don't. You
coach
don't
your
need to.
bar with chalk.
Coach your bar. Make sure you wear sweatbands or you wear a t-shirt the entire time so you're soaking up some of your sweat. But I don't think there's any time to chalk
I
in this
agree.
workout. It's got to be so fast paced. There's no time for that.
I agree with that totally.
Yeah. Axe sweatbands. Sharpentheaxeco.com.
We'll try to get them there real fast, but no promises. Other than that, so let's talk technique. We're always like really on top of the toe to bar technique. We're always talking about the smooth kip, the raise the knees up and the kick, and then the big long transition back to the open hip again. Is there room? Well, I know the answer.
I'm going to ask you the question. I'm going to ask you this because I couldn't see him doing it. How did I know the entire time I basically stuck with what we teach for our kip, and only the last round when I knew there was like 30 seconds left did I switch to try to scoop and go through faster. What did he do the whole time?
Gabe didn't necessarily scoop, but he also did not always return to that big swing. He stopped himself short, and he basically hit a lot of the positions, but because he stopped himself short, what ended up happening a lot of times is the knee would bend. So the feet would come up, and then he would kick hard. So one of the habits we work super hard about breaking with an athlete actually sped him up a little bit.
I was going to say,
they were slightly faster than normal.
That very first round, when I heard you say 8 for him, I was like, I'm at 6. We're in the first 6 seconds of the workout. How is that a hurry?
He's pushing and pulling himself, and he's stopping short. He's getting his feet back behind, meeting that standard, but he's then kicking and flipping back up. It's similar to me. It's a similar thing as using the scoop to me. It's the same. It's not the best as far as like longevity goes on toes to bar, but when it's only 8 per round and not 15 like they've asked in other workouts, you can get away with it. If you're much higher level, you have the endurance, you're very comfortable with the movement, then you can start to stray.
If you're not frantic, basically.
If you're not frantic. If you're kind of that mid-level athlete who's just looking to get a good score and finish, top 500, I don't think you go to that scoop for speed because you're going to lose in other areas anyway.
You talk about it all the time with movements like that. Sometimes it does not pay to go frantic or fast or something else if you're going to take that risk somewhere else.
Exactly.
In the workout.
And that's what's going to happen for the vast majority of people doing the 99%. Open. Right. So I'm thinking personally after watching both Holty and Briggs go and then you two schmucks go.
Schmucks. Washed up in the old one.
It's clear that you can, if you are very good at toes to bar, you can start to kind of break the rule, I would say, and try to speed them up. I think this is one of those rare appropriate times, and we've talked about it in the past. There are times where we would recommend it. I don't necessarily recommend it, but I find it acceptable if you know you can go unbroken the whole time.
I just didn't feel like they really got that hard, like a little bit on the grip later on in like the last rep or two of the last couple of rounds.
I never felt midline. It was only I sweating and I started to slip a little bit.
So the times when I was doing that was trying to scoop and go a little faster, was opening up the workout to try to get ahead. And then I just kind of gauged based on how I felt after coming off the rower, if I wanted to push or if I needed a little second to breathe. It was a little bit more about that. That's what it was never an issue of hip flexors or midline or anything like that.
One thing you did that I noticed too is your grip was giving you a little bit of an issue, like in rep 5, 6 in later rounds, and you would actually increase the kip so that you would fly forward and you could almost do a flying toe to bar and reset your hands so you didn't have to come down.
Same thing.
But now we're talking about how confident he is in his toe to bar. He's literally flying up, letting go of his grip, resetting his grip, and then continuing on because he's, he knows where his line is. He knows. So anyway, anything else about toes to bar?
I don't think so. I think some people could bastardize it a little bit by. You see a lot of people where they have a really beautiful hollow body position, but it's kind of shallow. You know what I mean? See some really high level athletes that don't break at the knee and scoop,
right? But
they also essentially just get enough where you can start to feel that tiny little pull in your hip flexor, and you're probably over the course of 8 times, 13, 14, 15, whatever it is, that's probably going to add up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think the scoop, there's just something about, to me, what that does to your heart rate, and
it feels frantic sometimes.
Well, if you feel frantic, you can do it frantically, but you can do it just a little bit quicker too than the long, swing. So I think the frantic is definitely don't do the frantic because it'll catch up with you.
I did the slower style, and I felt like the toes to bar, my heart rate, I got down. I never felt out of breath from the toes to bar. The breathing.
Yeah, you were able to get straight to the dumbbell every single time.
So that was how I felt. I felt the real transition was from the dumbbell to the rower and getting off the rower at a good pace.
I agree with that.
We'll get to that. But.
So toes to bar done. Now let's talk about actually transitioning from that to the dumbbell. We just talked about this. 2 conflicting styles. You were able to come right down off the bar and pick the dumbbell up immediately. This was Gabe's one rest station. So Gabe would come down from the bar and do this mini quarter circle
I walked around
to
the
his-
upright every time.
Yeah, around the upright to his dumbbell. And it's maybe 2 seconds. Literally 2 seconds was 2 to 3 was his total transition. But that was his point that he chose. Every round was going to be where he would both reset the grip and just like check in. Am I in control? Yeah, here I go. And he picked up the dumbbell. So I just think that transitions from each station really are noteworthy, and planning ahead as to, the if grip's an issue and I'm coming off toaster bar every time and I'm picking up a dumbbell, which can get grippy for people. I know it's not that heavy, but again, that hang position, that thing's pulling on you the whole time. I think you need to plan that accordingly. All three movements have grip components to them. But.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said about playing with that dumbbell style to make sure you find a way that's easier for you and you're moving that dumbbell smoothly and you're not having that big range of motion. Because one thing we talked about prior to starting was Gabe would bring the dumbbell down way away from his body. It would slow the cycle rate. So you get a chance to play with that beforehand, because truthfully, I didn't feel like a grip became too big of an issue with a dumbbell. It did bring your heart rate up a decent amount. And what I found was, my shoulder started to fatigue just a little bit towards the end of each set. So when you get to 4 and 5 in rounds like 8, 9, 10, and they're on, you're like, all right, now this kind of sucks. These last two aren't very fun, but you're switching hands soon, so you kind of hang on for it. But to me, it's something to be said about making sure that you find the dumbbell clean and jerk style that works well for you. And I was glad to see you could go between the legs instead of outside, because that changed it.
The two things that I saw with you, one, you cost yourself by chucking the dumbbell. Because especially towards the later rounds, you were probably a full 2 second walk to the dumbbell. I know it's crazy. We're talking about 2 seconds in a 20-minute workout, but this is what it's looking like.
Over rounds.
12 rounds.
Towards the end, you had to walk back over. So I saw that. And then there's that thing where with our bodies, when a muscle starts to burn out, we use it more. We overuse it. Becomes you can't really help it. And there's a lot of arms going on. You could have been a lot more efficient with the dumbbell.
Oh, I agree.
Trying to use your hip, and then if you catch in that crouched position and drive up, actually using your hip extension.
You'd have a few reps
you
with
just
a dumbbell.
knew you were strong enough the whole time to muscle through all of it. And that does keep your heart rate down maybe a little bit more, but I could tell there were a few where you didn't want the dumbbell in your hand anymore.
I think it's to my detriment. I think the opposite of what you said in terms of keeping my heart rate down. I think I just muscled through it. It jacked my heart rate up, but I was just get through this, because it's either spike your heart rate for a very short amount of time or be a little bit more efficient and be comfortable for a little bit longer, to me, which in my mind when I'm working out is just get this done and get it over with, even if it's not the most efficient way. And I think that some of those reps too played with whether or not the dumbbell was straight on my shoulder, or if it was a little bit started to creep out to the side, or if the dumbbell started to turn slightly.
Right.
I had many different reps throughout the workout where it felt like some of them, like butter goes up smooth, and some of them wow, that felt weird, or that was a lot harder press than it should have been. And something to say about consistency when you're warming up, figure out which style works best for you and try to mimic it the entire time. This is a workout where you have to keep the same pace, the same movement quality the entire workout, and that's the challenge here. You're looking at people who have to stay at the same pace the whole time, but also have to move efficiently so they're able to stay at that same pace the entire workout.
Well, I think all this stuff is really important and comes into play, not because it's hard to hold on to the dumbbell, because neither of us have great grip strength. It's a weakness probably for both of us, and neither one of us thought about breaking it up. So it's not about whether you're going to hang on to the dumbbell.
Yeah, you both thought about it.
Okay, we thought about
it's about efficiency. It's about 400 reps, right?
Efficiency, so that you can actually go and rip on the rower, or that you can hang on the toes. It's more about that than the dumbbell movement, because that movement you'll find it's not. You could either muscle through it or you could move efficiently. You're not going to put it down unless you just give up.
The two other things that I can think of for just the masses in terms of with the dumbbell, that crossover. We have so many people in CrossFit with the overdeveloped low back that pump out really easy. If you're that type of person and you don't maintain, a really strong posture through your glutes and your low back, get into a little bit more of a squat than you saw Sherb doing. I didn't see what Gabe was doing. Sherb's one of the only people I know that can literally bend, turn into a 90-degree, like when you're deadlifting, you don't bend your knees at all.
One position.
So I would say the people that are a little bit more boxier shaped or have issues with the low back, just sit down a little bit more. I'm not saying don't, get that kettlebell swing into it, but definitely sit down enough for that to happen. And then I don't know what you guys think, but I only see our super athletic and kind of hypermobile athletes doing a really smooth jerk the entire time. It's a lot of reps. Whereas if you catch in that dip and jump the weight up, you might a lot of people will be better off.
Yeah.
You're trying to fight that jerk. If you're not pressing exactly down under it and then rising up almost early, I think it's a waste of time, and I think it's going to burn you out.
I don't think the jerk is even appropriate at all for the high level. I think
don't think it
if,
matters
if you're
enough.
saving a
Yeah.
rep, if it's saving because you pushed it off awkwardly, that's one thing. But to go into it jerking each one, trying to be super smooth, I actually think it hurts you, slows you down.
To me, it reminds me a little bit of the regionals workout, the 21, 15-9 ring dip and dumbbell snatch with the heavier dumbbell. Like some of the athletes started slowing down because I had spent that extra quarter second for 21, 15, and 9 on that power snatch with the dumbbell.
Yeah.
And it's just that little bit of extra time that's
Yep.
not necessary. And like you said, it seems weird that we're talking about 2 seconds going an extra step to your dumbbell, but same thing adds up over the course of 14 rounds. It's like 140 seconds there if it's 1 second per dumbbell snatch per for the whole workout.
And I'll also say, like, that jerk, catching that jerk over and over again will start to put a little more pump into your quads. And for all the knuckleheads we know of out there that still struggle on the rower, most CrossFitters are unfortunately quad dominant rowers because they come so far up on their toes when they initiate driving. That is going to burn the shit out of your legs across 20 minutes if you do both those things. So if you haven't learned how to really row efficiently using your posterior chain and you're using a jerk on that, the only way you can get quad pump, you will have found that way to do it.
How did your legs feel during the workout? Because to be totally honest, my legs felt fine on the rower the whole time. I just could not breathe. Like that's how I felt in the workout. Was that maybe we're going to be moving into that?
Yeah,
next,
I don't think they were really affected by anything other than the rower.
Yeah.
It's rowing. It's 14 calories a round, so it really wasn't a crazy leg pump. I mean, I'm not the greatest in terms of technique on rowing, and I do, I'm very quad dominant, and still it was fine. So yeah.
Good for you.
I'm gonna default to the expert today because he's clearly a better rower.
That was crazy. Anyway, okay, so past the dumbbell now you're actually transitioning to the rower. Are there any tips on how you at least set the rower up? Obviously, you have your judge reset
Remember your
monitor.
judge will make sure you reset it every single time.
Yeah, that
You had to do it once, and you didn't do shit.
obviously,
I was gonna be so fast. That's my workout right there.
obviously
5
that's
reps.
helpful. One thing I
Don't-
noticed with Gabe is he never strapped in.
Don't strap in.
He had that perfect distance where if he uses an aggressive stroke, his feet maybe come off just a little bit, but when he comes back in, they're right in control again.
There was a round in my workout where I had to take an extra half second to do that because my left foot
To do what?
kept to adjust the strap slightly because I kept getting my left foot caught. I would
Oh,
pull the last calorie, put the handle away, left foot slide, or right foot would slide out, no problem. Left foot caught. So like middle of one of my rounds, I had to actually spend an extra half second flicking that clip back so I could.
That was
pull it
just
out.
because you stepped on top of it, though.
True. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It was one of those ones where how it like goes down and then comes back up instead of looping over. So when he went to slide his foot in, he just stepped on top of the strap.
what was your dampers set at?
I always row in a 4 unless we're doing like calorie
I
sprint.
was between a 4 and a 5.
Yeah, so we have a 200-pound, 6'1" man
It's very nice you call me 200 pounds.
rowing
very nice of you.
rowing on a
900.
you know what I mean. Rowing at a 4. My point is that people are going to turn this. A lot of people think
Cows, bro.
6, 7, 8. They have the damper on. Well, I'll just get it done sooner. Yeah.
Go for it.
Shot right up.
Yeah, I don't see that
Don't
as
do
an
it.
advantage at all. No.
Smooth. I mean, the workout turns into a rowing workout. You guys spend more time on the rower than anything else. Consistency, repeatability, and then the ability not to have that rower blow you up for the other two movements is really 90% of this workout, is it not?
Yeah, no, it's the row pace across 20 minutes where you're getting the work done quickly because you don't want to hang out on the rower for extra time, but you're
Right.
also not ruining the workout because, like you said, you could easily ruin this workout in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
And I watched the girls, the CrossFit Games ladies go, and I was like, that looks way too frantic, but I mean, they're freak athletes, so I just hung that pace basically the entire time, but you could definitely ruin the workout in the first 5 minutes if you are a little too overzealous or you don't know yourself enough to figure out what that pace is.
Yeah, I mean, what will happen is you come out at 16, 17, 18, you're feeling fresh, your legs are feeling good, you're excited, and then your heart rate gets out of control and you come back around. Your transitions are still fast because you're excited about the beginning of the workout, and then the heart rate gets out of control. And there's no there's no place to bring it back down.
The only way you can do it is on the rower again by going really, really
Right.
slow, and then you ruin the workout.
You've
So it's
blown
not
it.
worth Yeah.
So, point being, if you let your heart rate get out of control at any point in time, there is no saving it. There's no movement where it's like, oh, okay, I'm really good here for a long period of time. I can find my way to get back in control. There's no place where there's built-in transitions or breaks to get back in control. You must be very smart about how you start this workout.
Castro seems to do this every single year with the first workout. You have to teeter that line of what's getting the work done very, very fast, but knowing yourself and not to blow up. Because you could do the same thing, 16-1, 17-1. You could do the exact same thing in those workouts, because that 16-1, you have that overhead walking lunge, burpee, chest to bar piece, and people did, I think a good score was probably like 10 rounds or something like that. People would get through 4 rounds in like 8 minutes and like, oh, I'm killing it. And then they would just tank.
Yeah.
Same thing with the dumbbell snatch last year. They'd crush the round of 10, 20, and then 30, and then 40 and 50. They're standing around the dumbbell. They're not moving it very fast. It's the exact, honestly, different movements, slightly different stimulus, but same kind of general feel to it, where you could definitely blow the workout by going outside your comfort zone or outside your pace.
I can see that.
I mean, just the fact, like you said there, that we're talking about little things like not strapping into the rower and not chalking your hands. Like, seconds are so important on each transition.
How many water breaks can I have?
What if it's the one without the cap, though?
It's a
quick
squeeze.
Bottle.
Yeah,
that's 4 reps right there, bro.
Oh, I know that number.
You can wear one of those beer hats, so the whole time you can be slurping on a straw.
If I'm going team this year, can I get water?
Don't cut that, Ted. I liked it a lot.
No. So we all, prior to this, essentially said the same thing to different people and came to the conclusion that this workout is transitions and rowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Correct.
Yep. For me, posture and pacing on the rower are the 2 most important things. I think that one of the things that Sherb does that gets to him a little bit, he talked about the breathing, is the shoulders rolling forward a little bit. Chest cavity, not in a position that you want to be in. So one of the tricks that I like for that is you steal it from the rowers, is they do the rower screen high up and just try to feel like someone's pulling up on your shoulders, because you're gonna maintain leverage over the handle and you're gonna have good form. I mean, if you don't have that, now you're kind of screwed anyways.
Too late.
But that to me is super important. And then the pacing, like, I feel like it has to be. I feel like one of the reasons why you guys didn't have that, one more round score was more about you were 1,100, then 1,300, then 1,400, then 1,200, kind of all over the place. And a lot of it was because you guys were looking at each other's rower screens.
Mm-hmm. Staring at it. But
you were 15, 16 at the beginning. Do you think it would have paid off to stay 1,350 to 1,450 and try to hold?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think my pace was like really irresponsible in terms of like what I could hang on to. But I think if I had been a little bit smarter from the gate, not be excited like you said, if I had started maybe to 13, maybe I could have held a 13 the whole time versus starting at like a 16 and ending at a. But you got to win the first round. That's what matters.
I don't know.
I still lost it. But.
I think it's possible what you just said, but I also think that you were pretty spot on, because even though you had that issue in the very last round with 10 seconds to go, like, you rode the line the whole way. And I'm not sure that even if you started off a little slower and maintained a little more, I'm not sure that wouldn't have still fallen off 10 minutes in. We still get to like equal fatigue 10 minutes in. We feel the same whether we came out a little hot and backed it off or we come steady at the same time. We almost always end up hitting that same point somewhere in like a 20-minute workout. If it's an 8-minute workout, we have a different conversation.
True.
But we're always going to feel that relative like same shittiness 8 to 12 minutes in, where it didn't really matter a lot how you started. It more mattered how you got there and where you're at that point, and then whatever you continue.
I agree. I think the only thing I would say about that is I do think I was a little bit aggressive to start, because usually my game on a workout that's 20 minutes like that is my pace doesn't change. I'm pretty good at holding that pace, and I feel like I didn't have. And normally what I do is like what it felt like as I was gaming the workout the entire time. I was just behind him, and I thought there'd be a point where I thought you were gonna be able to let it rip. I thought there was a point where I could catch him, and I didn't have it on the rower. And even when I did pick it up, I think I picked it up too late. I think if I had tried to do the same thing a little bit more aggressively, maybe the round before the end, it would have goaded him into going too hard, like he said.
That's what you would have had it done, because he could also pick it up at the end with a minute, 9 seconds to go. So even I saved it for then, like everyone did. You know what I mean? Everyone can empty the tank at that point. So you're right. You would have had to make that move a full round earlier, and maybe you held on a little better, or maybe you drag him into your game and you sink him. But I don't think that would have happened in this workout. But you may have made a push yourself. So anyway,
I mean, I think it goes back to the focus thing that you talked about in your Intensity is Freedom video, which if you haven't watched that, do that now. But it was a focus thing because my first round, I started out in the, mid 15s or something like that, just because I expected that to be the pace that he was going to hold most of the time. I didn't know.
Right.
And so I was like, well, if I'm going to give myself a chance at all, I need to spend that much, time in that, at that pace as much as possible. And obviously I didn't think I could. I assumed I could keep mid 12s as an average.
Yeah.
And that's what it ended up being, but I was going to push it. And it really took a lot of focus after pushing the 15s and 14s for the first 2 rounds to like, okay, whatever it is, whatever it takes, to really try to keep that pace. And sometimes it was staring at something at the wall. Sometimes it was literally staring in at that number and saying 1200, 1250, like, whatever, like tuning stuff out and really focusing in on,
That's kind of what makes a rower weird, right? Is you can, like, if you put the same sort of effort into the dumbbell or the toe to bar as you would as like a 700 calorie per hour, nothing would happen.
right.
So there's some sort of level that you have to hold yourself to. Like, oh, I'm rowing right now. Well, good for you. It's going to take you 2 hours to get to the point you're trying to get to. So I saw you one time, I don't know, I think it might have been 5-ish, 6, somewhere in there. So you lose your focus once.
Yep.
And you started doing that thing, and it's a lot of what I talk about in that video is you started to try to find a better way to sit, try to find a better way to hold the handle. You closed your eyes a little bit, but then once you got back to the toast bar and came back around, you didn't have that posture again the rest of the workout.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this workout, I think, is that it demands fitness, obviously. It demands discipline on the transitions, but then it demands that focus. Everybody's fit. People can really, do this work. It's, are you going to focus enough to do that? Are you going to tune it out? And I think that's a good, one of the good things that we didn't see the clock, because I have no clue what time was on the clock when that happened. Right. If that was happening and I looked and we're 7 minutes in, there's no way I make it 20 minutes. Right? So, I mean, you're going to have those moments. If you don't have those moments, especially in the open, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
So, learn how to deal with those moments, figure it out. If you're doing that every round, shrewd.
Yeah.
Boy, that's what I have to look forward to. Like, okay, what's the time on the clock now? Okay, how about now?
Don't look at it.
How about now?
It's gonna fly by for me. I mean, if you only get 6-7 rounds, then
that's pretty good.
Just flying by.
I'd be happy with 7 rounds. It looked
7
terrible.
Rounds. Yeah. It was an experience.
I'm gonna
for sure.
finish. I know that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, bro.
Yeah.
The clock's gonna start and it's gonna stop, and I'm still gonna be out in the gym.
These are all things that are gonna happen.
Strategy.
Last thoughts. 18-1, you're going to send your athlete out there to do it. What's the last bit of advice you give them before they get into that?
The biggest thing I told I have a few athletes right now, and I told them all, like, don't change the way you go into the gym and warm up because it's the open. All of them are like, should I eat carbs the night before? Or how many hours of sleep should I get? I'm like, do what you do. Go into the gym, get sweaty beforehand, make sure you feel comfortable with the movements, and then let her rip, because nothing you do between right now and when you do the workout is going to change how you do on that workout, other than make it worse. It's not going to make it better.
You shouldn't have told them this at the end of the podcast. Now they can't go back and not watch it.
Well,
Well, everyone's already tuned out anyway. There's no one even left watching.
They heard us working. We were working out, and they're like, I'm out. Bunch of no reppers. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
what's your last advice for the athlete that you're about to send off to do this? What do you tell them?
My advice would be move around a lot before you do this. It's the first week of the open.
Just don't mind.
Get all that stuff. Don't stress out over it by thinking too much. Keep it simple. Make sure you're sweaty. Make sure you've been doing a ton of work and simple work. Heart rate's been up for a while, because it is really simple. You all can do all this work. It's just about performing.
Got to eat a pine cone before you do the workout.
What's your last advice for somebody?
I think you're in a rare situation where you have a judge that is sort of all over what you're doing, the amount of reps you're doing, and it allows you to focus on being very present in each movement, the fact that you should breathe through your toes to bar, the fact that you should move properly, the fact that you should be efficient with your dumbbell, the fact that you can think about all these different things on the rower. I know the rower tells you it's right in front of you, but being able to sort of shut off and stay very focused on what you're doing and not have to worry about how many reps you've done, I think that's a huge advantage for a lot of people take advantage of it. Like really lose yourself in like what's going on. Don't, ask all the time how much time is left. Don't do all these things. Go out there and move without stopping for 20 minutes.
I really, really like the fact that I had no idea where I was at in the entire workout. All I knew is I had to do 8 reps, then I had to do 10, then I had to do 14.
And then else. And then, 2 last things. I get 2.
Sorry. Jumped in.
No, it's not that. It's just you guys just did that for each other in a huge way. The power of having someone within those few reps of you, I think, is really important. So
definitely pulled each other along, maybe an extra half round than we would have got if we were
There's something about if you know somebody really well, just adds that little bit of ego. And yes, it could be something dumb where you go out too hot because of it. But if you're, smart and listen to yourself through all your experiences throughout the year, use that at the very end of the workout. Be the Gabe, though.
My final tip would be appreciate the situation that you're in. So there's always going to be a point during this 20 minutes that you can feel really bad for yourself. I heard someone. Was that fart?
No, the noise is like guts just made me crazy.
It sounded like a toilet.
That was incredible.
It sounded like a toilet was coming out here. He's flushed the toilet in his throat.
Wow. That's what happens when you get old.
I guess. I'm looking forward to that. So everyone's going to have a moment where they start to feel really bad for the position that they're in. They feel bad about the fact that there's 10 minutes left. They feel bad about maybe they have a movement they don't like in there. Instead of feeling bad for yourself, appreciate your abilities in the position you've put yourself in to be successful. And that can be on any level, but the biggest thing is finding something else to focus on when you start to feel bad. Because if you let those thoughts creep in, like, I can just back my pace down, I can set the dumbbell down, I am going to turn toes to bar into 3 sets instead of 2, I am going to dog the row to come back around. Because you feel bad for yourself, you may not need to do that. In fact, you probably don't need to do that. You do that because you make the decision that it hurts and it's not fun and you don't want to be in the position anymore. You've worked all year to have an opportunity to showcase what you've accomplished. And you've already accomplished it because you've already trained for the year. So this is the showcase. This is the time you can step up and be proud of what you've done for yourself, not for somebody else, but for yourself. So when you have that inkling to feel bad for yourself, instead of backing it down, appreciate what you're capable of doing and pick it up. It's only 20 minutes. 20 minutes is nothing in a day, right? It's nothing. We kill 20 minutes by scrolling through Instagram. We don't even know what happens. We watched marble races for like 2 hours today on YouTube. Right? 20 minutes is nothing. Like, embrace that pain and appreciate what you are capable of doing during this workout, and then die after if you want. But just don't let that, I feel bad for myself, I'm going to make this excuse and change this here. Don't do it. Don't let it happen. You'll kill your season. You'll kill any potential you have for growth. Don't let it happen. Just change your focus as soon as you feel bad for yourself, because you're going to, but then you have to change, redirect, focus on something else.
Agreed.
That's all. That's kind of a tough one to do, but you can do it.
It's worth it. I mean, who
necessary.
wants to be a little uncomfortable for
That's
extra
my
minute or so?
Game. That's all I have.
To give you the whole weekend at regional experience that you want. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. So
that's literally all I'm capable of doing is stop feeling bad for myself and then just suffer. But I can't.
It's within your control.
Yeah, that's right.
It's within your control.
So anyway, okay, I think that's it. 18-1. I think we've said it all.
Get as many reps as you can.
Next week we'll be saying your names if you finished in the top 20 in any region.
It's gonna be a max deadlift. I can't.
Don't
wait.
say that.
25 and some.
Oh, sorry. If you're in a qualifying spot.
He's gonna read every name in the
like
list.
5 in other regions now. Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, good luck. Best of luck. We'll see you guys for 18.2.
Like,
Go
follow,
kill it.
subscribe, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yep. See you.
See you guys.